Next up, kicks off the first half over to Tom. Tom instantly throws a through ball over to Zacharias. Zacharias now. Small pass over to YV over to Vibriet. And back to Tom Thomas it is, into the midfield now. Switches it over. Mini will barely get that. He will pass it back to YV. Loveful right clicks into Tom once again. Tom is looking for a bullet. Finds Dogsy. Dogsy instantly shoots and it's already 1-0 to Saints. Aribo kicks it off over to Angel. Angel's small pass to Kraken. And Kraken now passes it back to Angel. Angel strives up. He has a lot of space to use. Does have some options on the wings. I think he will decide to cross it instead. No, he does not. Okay, gives it over to Xeno. Xeno now will cross it in. Must by next time cleared over to Kraken. Kraken's short pass over to Frozen. And Nesco gives it over to Woke. Woke back to Nesco. Nesco now. The bullet over to Spiros. Spiros tries to flick but is intercepted by Fabriet. The clearance over to Dogsy. Dogsy passed it back to Lucien. Lucien over to Mini. And back to the goalkeeper, Josh it is. Josh now. Small right click over to Lofu. Lofu driving up. Short pass to Mini. Mini now has a lot of space. Decides to give it back to Vibrier. Vibrier left clicks over to Zacharias. Zacharias to the edge on Tom Thomas. Tom Thomas over to Mini. Mini now is looking for his cross. Does go with it, but is mossed by Nesco and cleared out to Lofu. Lofu instantly passes it to Zacharias. Zacharias back post to Lucien. Blocked by Spiros. Flicks twice. Keeping composure. Next time Dogsy is after him. Dribbles over Dogsy. And gives it back to Kraken. Kraken to Nesco now. Nesco slowly driving up. Doesn't have too many options except for the defense right now. Looking for a potential dime here. He does have Angel. And he does give it to him. Angel now. Over to back to Nesco. Nesco is looking for a pass in the box. Right clicks it. Mossed by Nexta once again and cleared out to Barbarians half. Seno instantly over to Spiros. Spiros to Angel. Switches it to Nesco. Nesco looking for a pass in the box once again potentially. He's trying to find a run. With no success whatsoever as of right now. Decides to force it in, and Lucien is there to block it. Beautiful block. Lucien over to Dogsy. Dogsy flicks once. Misses his second flick, unlucky, but gets it back eventually. Dogsy now. Does have options in the defense, and does go with them. Over to Mini now. Lucien is there to get it. Lucien now passes it back to Vibriet. He does have Zachros and does go with him. Zacharias now. Cross it in. Next up Moses, and it's a beautiful Moss end goal. 2-0 to Saints. Ayago kicks it off once again. Angel gets it. And Angel now. Triggers it over to Kraken on the left side. Kraken gives it back to Xeno on the right wing now. Instantly passes it back to Pullback. Pullback looking for a dime. Does indeed bullet to Woke into a dime. Woke tries to short pass it with a right click out, but it went over his head. Goal kick for Saints. Josh over to Mini. Mini to Tom Thomas. Tom now, being pressured, decides to give it back to Vibriet. Vibriet now, trying to drive up, does see Tom. Tom gets it once again, tries to flick but misses his flick. Xeno is there to get it. Xeno now. Over to Angel. Angel switches it to Kraken. Kraken over to Nesco. Nesco driving up the midfield. Looking to make a pass that could get Barbarians a goal. Does cross it in. Pullback is there, but that's a weak shot. Unlucky. Woke has been subbed off for Dimitris. Josh now over to Mini, and Mini gives it off to Tom. Tom over to Zacharias. To Nexta now. Nexta slicks over Angel. Xeno LDs him though. Xeno back to Spiros. Spiros back to Nesco. Nesco now driving up the midfield. Switching up the tempo of the game, going slow. Doesn't have too many options out the front, so does give it to the side. Poor pass, and Dogsy intercepts it. Dogsy back to Zacharias. Zacharias now. Doesn't give it away too quickly. Over to Nexta. Nexta back to Josh. Josh getting out of the box. Small driven over to Mini. Mini instantly passed it to Lucian. That was a bad pass, and that it does so. Pullback gets it. Pull now. Driving up, looking for an option. Decides to pass it back to Angels instead. Angels to Nesco. Nesco looking for a potential bullet here. Decides to give it off to Demetrius instead. Demetrius into the box. Gotten by Nexta and cleared away over to Dogsy. Dogsy pass it back to Mini. Mini onto Lofu. Lofu now in the center. Switch it over to Lucien. Lucien on the right wing. Pass it back to Mini. Mini's looking for a potential pass here. He's being pressured a lot by pullback. Does decide to give it off to Lucien instead. Lucien over to Lofu. Driving up now. Looking for a potential pass in the box. He does have Zacharias, but decides to go for it. Next is there. Shoo, it was a beautiful shot, but the save was even more beautiful. Image gets it. Over to Xeno. Xeno driving up. Small pass over to Angel. Over to Nesco. Nesco now. Drivens it to Demetrius. To Angels. Angels looking for a bullet potentially in the box. He does have Demetrius, so he can start passing, but has to go for the box. Most by Mini and cleared away over to Angel. Angel now. Small pass, but not powerful enough to get to him. Lucien does intercept it, and it's a through ball over to Dogsy. Dogsy gets it. Back to Mini. Mini back to Josh. Josh now. Still holding the ball. Gives it over to Mini. Drivens it to Lucien. Lucien is now down the right wing. Gives it off to Lofu instead. Lofu now. Small driven to Tom. Tom does see Dogsy, but the pass wasn't so good. And it is halftime. Ah, damn, 50 whole seconds? Are they getting like a real water break or some shit? Hmm. Ayabo once again kicks off the second half this time. Over to Nesco. Nesco switches it to the left side to Kraken. Kraken onto the right side. Xeno. Small pass to Nesco. Nesco does have Kraken, but he will go for a pass. That was a horrible pass. Miscalculated. Unlucky. Josh gives it over to Mini. Mini does have Lucian, like always. Lucian does have some space to use. Kraken is coming up to pressure him. Doesn't seem to be going to Lucian though. He's leaving him wide open. Okay, Lucian now. Drivens it in. Demetrius mosses it. And it's over to Spiros now. Spiros switches it over to pullback. Pullback. Slowly waiting for his teammates to come up with him. Decides to give it off to the defense for now. To Xenon. Back now to Nesco. Small driven over to Spiros. Beautiful pass. Spiros does get it. Doesn't have too much space. Gives it in. Mini mosses it and clears it away over to Xeno. Xeno to Nesco. Nesco looking for the bullet. Pull. Shoots. Blocked by Nexta. Mini does get it back from Nexta and it's cleared over to Lucian. Lucian drivens it over to Dogsy. Dogsy. Left take over to Mini. Back on the right wing to Lucian. Lucian to Tom. Tom gives it off to Mini once again. And it's back all over to Lucian. Lucian crosses it in now. Dogsy's there. Shoots. Goal. As always, Dogsy never misses the osmosis. 3-0 to Saints. Spiros kicking it off over to Angel. Angel switches to Xeno. Xeno now. Switch to the left side over to Kraken. Kraken to Nesco. Nesco is looking for a bullet in the box. Doesn't find anyone. He's gonna try to cross it and bullets it to Spiros. Spiros tries to shoot. It's a good save by Joss. Joss now. Taking his time. Over to Mini. Mini. Running down the right side. Does a small pass to Lucian. Lucian now looking for a cross once again potentially. Does get it in. Mossed by Demetrius and cleared over to Spiros. Spiros back to Nesco. Nesco, good pass over to Ayabo. Ayabo back to Nesco. Nesco flicks over to Tom. Looking for a pass in the box now potentially. Does go with it. Gotten by Lucian and cleared away. Xeno is there. Gets it. Will potentially could give it in the box. Looking for a bullet. Tries to bullet. That's a poor try, though. That's a really poor try. Josh gives it over to Mini. Mini to Dogsy. Dogsy has a lot of space on the right. Dribbling. Dragging Kraken and pull. Pull blocks Dogsy. Gives a short pass over to Ayabo. Through balls it to Spiros, but it's too short, but it's too long. Because Josh is already there. Josh now, over to Vibria. Vibria to Tom. Tom switched it over to Mini. Mini now on the right side of the pitch, has a lot of space. Looking to cross it in, does go with it. Nexta gets it in the inner, gets out of inner, flakes over, gives it to Dogsy. Oh my god. That's very poor from Dogsy. I like. Alright. Image gives it off to Kraken. Kraken. To Nesco. Nesco now. On the right side of the pitch. Does have Kraken to his left. And Demetrius to his right. Vibria is going out to Demetrius. This has to cross it in and it's mossed by Vinny. Flicked twice. Mini keeping his composure. Switched it over to Vibria. Vibria to Nexta Drivens. LD'd by Pool. Pool now short pass over to Nesco. Nesco is looking for a chance here. Blocked by Lofu. And it's given over to Zacharias. Zacharias now. Right clicks over to Tom. Tom flicks through Nesco. And gives it over to Lucian. Lucian. Right clicks to Nexta. Nexta driving with the ball now. Gives it back instead to Mini. Going in for the Moss potentially. Yeah, does cross it in. Mossed by Angel and it's cleared out. Vibria will be getting this one. Vibria driven to Tom. Tom now. Looking for the bullet. Finds Dogsy. Dogsy does get it back. Twice. Poor flick. And Kraken gets it. Nesco team steals him. And it's a small driven over to Ayabo. Ayabo now waiting for his teammates. He does have Pool and does see him. Pool now has a bit of space to use. Zacharias is catching up to him. Just has to give it off to Demetrius instead. Demetrius. Over to throw to Nesco. Nesco now. Looking for another pass in the box. To at least get one goal for Barbarians. Next intercepts it. Flakes keeping his composure. Doesn't have many options to give it off to up top. It's looking like he'll pass back to the defense and he does so rightfully. Over to Josh. Josh to Mini. He does have Lucian once again and does go with him. Lucian has some space. Dogsy is in front of him as an option. Switch it over to Tom. Tom now. Over to Zacharias. Zacharias is looking for a potential cross here. Dribbling a bit. He does have Tom at edge. This has to go to Mini instead. Finds Lucian. And Lucian is looking for the cross. In. Slow cross, so it was unpredictable. Demetrius gets it and clears it off. Lofu does get it. Flicks. And passes it back to Mini. Mini now. Back to Josh. Josh dribbles it over to Lucian. Lucian now. Running down the right wing. Passes it back to Mini. Mini is looking for a potential cross once again. Going in the box. Bullets it to Dogsy. Dogsy shoots and it's off the crossbar. Lucian will be getting it. Once again in the box. Mossed by Nesco. And keeping his composure. Over to Spiros. Spiros now. Gives it to Pool. Pool. Small pass over to Nesco. Nesco in the midfield. Driving to the right. Giving it over to Pullback. Pullback back to Nesco. Nesco finds Demetrius in the box. To Spiros. Shoots instantly off the crossbar. Over to Mini. Mini tries to flick, but it's out of bounds. Unlucky. Dimitrius will be taking it. Small pass over to Nesco. Nesco flicks once. Looking for a cross. Does go with it. Mossed by Mini. Beautiful flick. Keeping composure. Inner camping. Semi-circle free kick for Barbarians. Nesco will be taking it. Bullets Ayabo. Shoots. And it's a beautiful block by Lofu. Cleared over the Toxic. Small right flick over to Nexta back to Mini. And Mini now is down the right back spot. Gives it back to Nexta. Frugal Zacharios. Good ball. He's a bit pressured, but that doesn't matter for Zacharios as he decides to give it back to Vibria. Vibria now. To Lofu. Lofu over to Lucian. And it's last attack for Saints. Saints have sealed the win. Lucian over to Mini. Gives it over to Joss, which seems to be coming up. Joss back to Mini. Looking for a last attack, inshallah, cross here. Does go with it. Most by Demetrius cleared full time. GG's. Easy.